Hey y'all, welcome back to the party. It is me, your girl, BrittReacts, and today we're gonna react to some of my homie, my friend, my bestie in my head, Josh Johnson. It's been a while, and this time he's gonna tell us about some of, in parentheses, Trump's wildest executive orders explained. It's 40 minutes long, so buckle up. Let's see what he has to say.
Because it genuinely has been an insane week. You know?
His eyes.
Yeah. No, I know. No, it's that part.
His eyes are so big.
I'm not gonna talk about it forever, but yeah.
Lip gloss.
Oh, it's what you came for? Okay, good.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm
Give the people what they want.
glad you didn't want to hear about my life. No, okay. You know, Trump took office and he immediately signed a wild amount of executive orders. They've been one-upping each other every presidency for a little while. Like, I'm pretty sure Barack Obama signed more than Bush, and then Trump signed more than Obama, and then Biden signed more than Trump. But this was like astronomical. This was a whole lot, because basically Trump went ahead and signed executive orders that rolled back a lot of what Biden did, plus his own. All right. And he did some sweeping stuff. Like, he signed an executive order that began the steps for the U.S. to leave the World Health Organization.
Somebody said,
I did
what?
not do it. But it is
What? It wasn't me.
What feels kind of wild to me about the executive orders that Trump is passing, and a lot of the things that we're going to see for the next few months into the rest of his presidency, is basically just a blueprint of everything that Project 2025 said that they were going to do. It's a project that he said he knew nothing about and had nothing to do with, but now that he's in office, they seem hella tight.
Now they seem hella tight. All right. A couple of observations. One, he's on what feels like much bigger stage and a much bigger venue. I know he's on tour right now, so shout out to him. I just love like the journey and the growth and being able to witness it. You guys know I'm a huge fan. I feel like I've said this before. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe it was over on Patreon. Shameless plug. Go join us on Patreon. But I always take January as a month to deplug. Sorry, y'all, I'm still recovering from this head cold. Wow. Post-nasal drip is a warrior, okay? A warrior. Hold on, my brother is calling me. Hey, now I'm filming and I gotta call you back. Love you, bye. Happy Saturday. It's chaotic over here. I take the month of January to unplug, isolate, kind of really buckle down and get into new habits and discipline that I might have fallen off on during the holidays or at the end of the year. It's just my thing. And in doing that, I'm off of all like personal social media, even with work. I only get on social media to film for you guys, to create content scheduling, which means I have to kind of shuffle through social media. And I really already am unplugged from the news, because I just feel like the news is really depressing. But I do so even more in January. With that being said, I kind of got back onto social media in February and was kind of just overwhelmed with what happened as soon as Trump came into office, and all the information and all of the executive orders signing and all the changes that he implemented immediately. Now, a lot of you here are avid Trump supporters, followers, fans, agree with everything he does. And y'all know I don't take a side, because I don't agree with any one side wholly. I disagree actually with a lot on both sides. I cannot say I am a fan of Trump. That would be a lie to you. And I also think there is a line between people who are Republicans, who are conservatives, who are Trump supporters, and then there, to me, are Trump fans. And Trump fans are people who don't recognize anything he does is bad. They will fan and follow everything he says. And to me, that's dangerous because no one should 100% agree with anyone in everything that they do. But some people, I think, just are fanatical about him and they like him so much that they will fight for him to the death. I say all of that to say the Project 25 thing, I think a lot of Trump fans were like, he's denied it, that's been debunked. And what I will say, and rather pose the question of, is if you are one of those people, and I don't, no shade, no tea, you are who you are, you like what you like, you agree with what you agree with, but I just want to know, do you still think he had nothing to do with and is not a part of Project 25 now that perhaps the evidence, the action is showing otherwise? A lot of things do align with what we've seen in this Project 2025 that popped up towards the end of the election. I'm just interested to know, because a lot of you, again, are on the Trump train in some capacity. I do believe it is a spectrum. And y'all know I respect all opinions. So don't let my question offend you. Some of you are hit dogs that holla and allow my questions to offend you. It's a question, and I would love to hear your opinion. But it is interesting that though it felt like, you know, Project 25 was meant to be this mythical, magical thing, a lot of the things that were on this Project 25 are now coming to fruition. Answer down below. Josh, back to you.
It's kind of like when you tell the police you don't know somebody, and then the police are like, but here's a picture of you two right here.
Oh, I don't know him that well.
And the picture hella incriminating because it's not you just happening to be in the picture with them. It's you being like, hey. You say that you're not boys, but in this picture here, you're holding a different picture of the two of you together. You're like...
When you were babies.
And sure enough, yeah, Trump signed an executive order that would start the process of the U.S. leaving the World Health Organization. And I feel like there are some things that Trump is doing because they're his idea, and some things that he's doing because his aides and the people that wrote up Project 2025 are pushing him to do it for whatever their own reasons are. Right? Like, I feel like they went to... They went to Trump and they were like, we need you to pull out of the World Health Organization. Then Trump was like, who? And they were like, yes.
What did they do?
And he was like, yes, what? And they were like, who? And he's like, who? And they were like, that's what we're saying. Who's who? And then he was like, I'll do what you want me to do, but I just need to know who it is. And it's like, who is who it is? That's who we want you to do it to. We have to pull out of who? Pull out?
I'm sorry.
Where?
This is hilarious. Pull out of who?
Yes, because we believe that who is dangerous. Who is dangerous? Yes, who is dangerous?
WHO being the acronym, World Health Organization. This is hilarious. I, too, subscribe to the fact that I think Donald Trump is and will always be a businessman. He is always going to think business-minded first, and therefore, I think it's why he's always been behind surging the economy and all of the policies and whatnot that will help that, because he does truly think that America needs to be better economically. I think that's true to be said, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I don't think Trump is not a career politician. I don't know, but I don't think he studied politics or, you know, any of those things. I think he has always been known to be the mogul, the finance guy, the money guy, the business guy. And so I think in my head, I agree with Josh that, like, Trump, I think, especially in his second term, is really wanting to do things for the people. Now, which people? That's up for debate. But I think he really wants to please the people who believe in him, who voted for him. And as long as you're on his side, he's cool with you. If you're not on his side, he like, you're not a great person. You're not on my side. You're not a good person, right? I've heard it in interviews. And so I think he really is game to just say yes to things to show people he means business, that he really intended to come into office and start taking action from not even day one, from second one, hour one, minute one. And so I do in my head agree with Josh that I think he's just kind of like, I don't know too much about that, but if it makes you happy, if it makes you happy. Like, I feel like that's what Trump is singing right now, a la Elon Musk and, you know, all these other people he's now put in office that I think he thinks they mean well. I don't think he thinks they're not meaning well, but I also think he's like, all right, I'm not going to get too far into that, but if you think it's good, I think it's good. I do. I believe that. I do. I genuinely believe that. That's my opinion, and I'm entitled to it, and you're entitled to yours.
Where is who? Well, sir, who's all over the world? Who is dangerous all over the world? Yes, that's why we have to pull out of. I'm not in who, by the way. I'm just standing here. We're just gonna put it on a piece of paper and we need you to sign it. All right.
Sure. Why not?
And this is my main thing when it comes to pulling out of the World Health Organization, is that a lot of people take for granted things that are functioning in their life. Things are either good, you expect to be good, and things that are working, you're just like, yeah, it works because it's supposed to work, right? But sometimes we don't ask enough questions on how a working thing got to the way it was.
I agree with this. I think I've been reacting a lot to things about the at the Department of Education. And I said there that I think a lot of people who are up in arms about the dismantling of this department don't even really know what its job was. They just hear like Department of Education, oh, that must be good. They're wanting to dismantle it. That must be bad. Instead of doing their own research to find out, you know, what has the Department of Education achieved? What was its initial job and what has it done, good or bad? People just will hear one thing and run with it. And I think that's such a dangerous thing in our culture, especially because of social media. People will read one blog post and think they have all the answers. No.
Sometimes we don't ask enough questions on how a working thing got to the way it was. And there hasn't been enough time in between when it didn't work and now for us to remember when it didn't work. Because if we lose access to the World Health Organization, it hurts the World Health Organization by a lot, but it also hurts us because then we lose access to their labs, to their data. Most of what happens and the way that cures and vaccines come about quickly is because all these countries are able to share information, which all sort of help us leapfrog over the last breakthrough that another country had. And because it's not a race, it's just shared information. It's just a group project. And our pharmaceutical companies, by the way, also need the World Health Organization to just stay on top of things, right? And I'm no fan of pharmaceutical companies. I'm just saying I'm a fan of people who are sick getting help, right? And so my thing is, if you pull out of the World Health Organization, as good as the doctors that we have in the US are, or at least can be, it won't be long before we're all just sort of WebMD. You know, it won't be long before a new thing, take something like COVID, right? No matter what you believe about the origins of COVID, you understand that something started up in China. And then because of the World Health Organization, everyone was able to talk about it, do testing. They were able to share findings. We were able to get to a vaccine pretty quickly, right? So now, let's say something comes out of another country. And we may know it's coming out of the other country from the news, but we don't actually know any breakthroughs because we're not sharing that data. And everyone has to start all over again every time they try to have a breakthrough. So now you'll just be a regular person walking up to other people like, hey, I'm just asking, just in general, just because I'm curious, but is anybody else like farting blue? No, me neither. No. That's crazy. I don't even know why I said that. That's just like crazy, but like it can happen. You know, I've been hearing on the news that it can't happen, and there's people whose whole bathrooms look like a Smurf died. Like it's just, stuff can happen, you know? Just curious. Yeah. And then maybe someone does get sick, and then that sickness starts to spread. And maybe it's not something that we're used to. It's a completely new thing. So now you have somebody being like, hey, is anybody else that was like not born double jointed, been acting double jointed, like just everything can go in every which way? Because double joint people, they seem to not hurt when they do it, but I'm in a lot of pain. So if anyone has any ideas on what to do, I've been eating as much as I can to lower inflammation, but I'm still got my head spinning all the way around when I fall asleep. And then you won't be able to distinguish certain things, because there are things that are not related, that we know through science are like not related, even though they're similar, right? You'll be able to know if you have a new thing or if you have a regular version of an old thing.
Okay.
Just walking up to somebody like, hey, look, I'm not trying to get the word out like that. I'm just curious if you've ever heard of this. Do you sleepwalk? Oh, you sleepwalk too? Oh, great. Do you ever sleepwalk and just wake up with a knife every night? Like, does that, just me? Okay. We'll have to look into it. This dude also signed an executive order.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong. As I understand it from Josh's perspective, is that the harm in pulling out of the World Health Organization is that we will no longer have access to the health and the data around the world, meaning we won't have the ability to test and compare or seek other research or, perhaps even be, what's the word I'm looking for? Be like advised or given a heads up if something is happening on the other side of the world and perhaps could be preventable in the US if we are no longer a part of this organization. I'm pretty sure that's what Josh is trying to say. I'm sure a lot of you are going to tell me down below why it's good to pull out. Go ahead. Let me know. I am all ears always to everyone and everything, because I know nothing, and I am okay to say that. I don't know nothing, but I just think there's so much wealth in other people's perspectives and knowledge. All right, let's keep going.
The one they promised to, delaying the TikTok ban. But while he was talking about it, after he signed it, he was basically saying like, oh yeah, the US should own some part of it, maybe 50%, maybe more, who knows. And it's hard to tell when Trump talks about what the government should do, if he means the government should own it or he should own it. Because I'm not gonna lie, this TikTok thing is the most mob boss thing I've ever seen. It's the most like, oh, you like your little thing, like, okay, maybe I own some of it. Mm-hmm. Maybe I own the whole thing. How about that? How about you get out of here? All right, it's mine now. One of the pettiest things that Trump did was he used an executive order to take back John Bolton's security detail. Now, I don't like John Bolton. I'm not like crying for John Bolton or anything. And if you know John Bolton, you'll know who I'm talking about. He looked like a Scooby-Doo villain. Like he like...
Y'all know I'm about to
John Bolton
Google.
got the mustache of somebody who has retired from tying women to train tracks, all right? This dude one of my favorite John Bolton memories was one time he was on, I think it had to be Fox News, he was on, and for some reason, they must have been trying to kill time or something. They put John Bolton, now he was old back then, so this is old, but he was still old when this happened. They put this old man on a hoverboard. And it was as great as you could imagine. They literally try and explain to him what to do on the hoverboard while he's on the hoverboard, which is the worst time to tell somebody how to operate a hoverboard. Don't let them get on and then be like, okay, now subtly. And so then this man, not knowing what to do, sort of moves his hips a little bit, and he just starts spinning. And you can go back and watch the clip. This man is...
Oh, I'm Googling that. Okay, so he is an ex-advisor, I guess, of the White House. It says he's an American attorney, diplomat, and Republican consultant and political commentator. And so Trump yoinked his his clearance. He also took Joe's, didn't he? Didn't he take good old Joe's? Hover. Oh, it popped right up. Wait, I don't see this happening though. Please don't lie to me. I need to see this video. Y'all, there's no trace of this video anywhere. He must have cleared it off of the World Wide Web. Send it to me if you have it. I need it. Send me the link in my email. Thank you so much.
But Trump took back his security detail. And it was just to be petty. It's just because he doesn't like John Bolton.
Oh, his security detail, not his clearance, his security detail.
It's one of the pettiest things I've seen from a government official, because all he's really doing, all Trump is really saying is like, hey, look, now that I'm back, I just want to make sure if you have any ops at all,
they can get to you.
That they have as little resistance as possible. Him pulling John Bolton's Secret Service detail is like if I uncalled 911 for somebody. Like they called 911 and I called right after, be like, hey, that last dude, he was just playing. Don't come. It's not a big deal. Don't come at all. I know he's like, oh, he has a knife or whatever, but don't come. He was just trolling.
Whatever. Even
the executive order he signed renaming the Gulf of Mexico into the Gulf of America. This is one thing that has to stop.
Do you know how many textbooks have to be changed now? Like, some of it, y'all are going to tell me what the reason is and why it's such a good thing, but some of it does feel super petty, and it just feels like he's doing it because he can. Some of it does. And that is one of the things. It's like, okay, I guess, but like, do you know how many textbooks and the poor children who are in school right now that have learned that this is the Gulf of Mexico, that now have to unlearn this and get it right for the SATs is just... The audience bursting into laughter makes me feel better because I'm like, am I dumb for thinking this is dumb? Am I the villain? Am I the problem? I just like, why? Go ahead, tell me, right? Go ahead and write your dissertation down below and let me know why it had to happen, why it was so important.
Stop. It has to stop immediately because we cannot make it this hard on these kids. I remember when I was a kid. I remember when I was a child in school and they told me that Pluto was not a planet, but it was, but it wasn't, but it was, but it
Still
wasn't.
Don't understand.
And it is, but it isn't. And I failed every test where they asked me what Pluto was. I was like, there was one time where it was a fill-in. You had to describe the plants and you had to talk about what gases and everything the plant was made of and why we couldn't live on that planet, why Earth was perfect to live on. And when we got to Pluto, I didn't know what to say anymore because it had been a planet and then it wasn't a planet and then it had been a planet and it even changed like astrological signs or something like that. And so I was like, you know what? It's up there. How about that?
I do know that.
And then you even had publications like The Guardian being like, we're still gonna call it the Gulf of Mexico. But we will call it Gulf of America for context in places where it seems fit, where the president is being quoted. I was like,
pick a side!
It is or it isn't. Then you had Trump signing executive order, you had Trump pardoning everybody from January 6th. That's wild. You ever had somebody go to jail from your neighborhood? Maybe this is just too specific to me, but you ever had somebody go to jail from your neighborhood and you're like, I'm not a snitch, but thank God. Oh. There was this dude named LaDon, right? And I can say his name because he's never gonna get out. But there was a dude.
Be careful.
There was a dude I knew named LaDon, and I remember when he got locked up, I was like, oh no, don't. Like, you know what I mean? Because you wanna show that solidarity, but the police were taking him. I was like, oh, how dare you, 5-0. I can't stand 12.
12?
LaDon, no. Oh, but LaDon was wild. He's like a proper criminal.
proper criminal.
It's like, you know, because then his boys were wearing like free LaDon shirts, and I was just like, Anytime I saw one of them, I was like, oh no, I hope this doesn't have the support that I think it does. There was even one of his friends that wrote to the local, I think it was council person or something, trying to get him to look into it. And I'm not gonna lie, I low-key did like a John Bolton, and I also wrote to the local council. I was like, hey, he was just playing. LaDon need to be in there. Don't pay any attention to what he's saying. Like, he just kind of wilding right now. You know what it is? LaDon owe him $20, and he want the 20 back. He doesn't want him free. He should not be free. LaDon a bad person. LaDon was a bona fide monster. So now imagine, LaDon go to jail. The hood is free.
The hood is free is crazy.
I've never, you've seen like homecoming parties for people when they get out of jail. I've never seen a party for somebody who just got arrested. Like, the people who felt like we finally had liberation were having a whole cookout off of this dude's charges.
I've seen that before.
And then his boys with the shirt came to the barbecue. I'm like, are you happy or not?
Of course they do. They know what's up.
But now imagine LaDon locked up. We can finally rest easy. And then the president of the United States is like, actually, nah, LaDon, well, he not innocent, but I don't care. And now he's coming home. That's gotta be what it feels like for some of these people. There were plenty of people, don't get me wrong, there were plenty people that were up there, did January 6th. They felt like the election had been stolen. They were sure that they had proof. They wanted to hang the vice president. They came in there with all the smoke, ready for all the juice. And then they get to go home too. This has to have been a wild experience if you are a J6er, because you were there. Remember when they pooped on the desk? They let them leave that day. They pooped on the desk that day, and then they were like, get out.
Hearing this back, it really feels like, how did that happen? And it sounds like a movie. And, you know, there are people who are still justifying this behavior, which I just like, I don't know. I don't know another time, if you are so American and you believe in America and justice for all and loving your country, that you can excuse and applaud or look the other way at behaviors like bending over and pooping on the desk and on a desk in the Capitol of someone just because you don't like them or you don't agree with them, or any of what happened that day. I am very confused. I am willing to hear your case, but I don't know, guys. And then I think the one thing I kept seeing was the officers that were, you know, injured, and the people who lost their lives on this day, and their family members who had thought they had gotten some type of justice. What kind of unearthing and pain that was to them, to see these people just be freed after going through the judicial system and what is, you know, a fair, rightful trial and all the things that justice says, you know, innocent until proven guilty. These people were found guilty. They were sentenced accordingly, and now they're just free. And, you know, I hate to be that person, but I'm going to say it. Like, if this were the other way around and it was a group of people you don't agree with that did this, I don't think everyone would just be okay. Are y'all all right? Are y'all all right? Are y'all all right? I feel like I've been shaking the table a little bit lately. Everyone thinks they've got me figured out. No, you don't. And you never will. Ask my husband.
Out of here, and they were like, you right. And then they left. And they were very willing to be on camera. There were people interviewing each other about what they were doing. It's like, hey, Patriot, what are you doing? Oh, I'm tearing up. I'm tearing up Nancy Pelosi's office right now in protest of the election being stolen. This is me, James Atwood.
Giving full names,
but they weren't saying their
addresses.
full names. They were saying their full names, and there was one dude that I'm pretty sure was trolling because he was literally getting people to say their address, and that felt insane.
Didn't I just say addresses?
I've never had to say my address out loud to somebody I didn't know. And then police come, and they're like, hey, get out of here. And then people left, and you saw them leave. You saw them leave different parts of the rotunda, everything, with smirks on their faces. And then over the course of 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, started picking them up left and right. People started, hey, he was there. Oh, they're posting about it. It was on their social that they were there and what they did, right? Them pepper spraying, them throwing stuff at police, all that stuff. And then they start getting arrested.
But
and
we support the police, right?
But I thought, how could this be?
What is it, guys?
How? And then they were sitting in jail. And then, before Trump left, they were like, surely he'll pardon us. And he was like, I'll see y'all in a bit.
I'll be back for you.
You know? Because there was a lot of like misunderstandings about who we could pardon and who we couldn't and when people were charged and all this stuff like that. And then he becomes president again. This dude is now president again. And then he pardons them. And woof. Normally, I'm used to seeing a lot of people get out of jail through like Innocence Projects and stuff like that. People who did not do something. And then they're like, I never thought anyone would believe me. I thought I was gonna sit in jail and now I'm free. And they're nothing but grateful. They get out, they're hugging their families, they're crying and stuff. And that has not been the case with the J6. Everybody that got let out is very angry. They're so angry.
I watched an interview of a gentleman that's local to my area that was pardoned, and the interviewer asked him straight up, like, do you have any regrets or any remorse? And he was like, regrets? Remorse? And it's just like, this is when it's important to have a belief in a greater power, whoever that is to you. For me, it's God, and I have full belief that God will handle everyone that needs to be handled in whatever capacity that means, right? Like, I wish ill on no one because that's not my place. I am not God. I am not one to judge. Ye shall not throw stones from thy glass house, okay? But what I will say is God gonna handle that, you, them, and anything else. That's where I stand on it. That's where I stand on it. But again, for the people who were personally affected and victimized, left to mourn, left to rebuild, I cannot imagine how devastating something like that is. It's got to be so hurtful. The same for people who are pardoned and the family maybe feels like, wait, what? That's our justice, you know? It just like, I just don't think we can be okay with it on one side and not on the other. The most conservative Republican people are also pro-police and pro, what is it? They support the police, but then how can you also be okay with these people who assaulted the people who are put in place to protect and serve? How is that American? I don't understand it. Like, help my brain. Maybe my frontal lobe is still developing on this, but like, help me understand if you are of opposition, because I can't wrap my mind around it. Like, when is it ever okay? These are the same people who don't like people who loot and mob the streets when something of social injustice happens, and they're like, these people are thugs and criminals. But not those people, just the other ones that were doing the same type of things in a different situation. Make it make sense.
With the J6, everybody that got let out is very angry. They're so angry, and a lot of them have already tweeted, I'm buying a gun. And it's like, why would you tell anybody that? You were already caught on camera doing the thing, and now you're like, and now that I'm out, I've got a gun. Okay, LaDawn. Like,
okay, LaDawn.
It's crazy, too, because this dude signed that executive order.
Oh, he's referring to
Doge
Trump as this dude?
For the Department of Government Efficiency that Elon is supposed to run, which Elon's also had a week. Because Elon was supposed to run Doge, and he was supposed to really, like, get in there of what the budgets were, of who everyone was and everything, and he was going to reshape government in the image that he saw best fit him, his businesses, and his worldview, right? And then, I don't know how he did it, but he already, like, did something that Trump didn't like.
Of course he did.
Like, it happened quickly because this dude was supposed to have an office that was near.
This will end in a power struggle. This will end. This dynamic. This is like the two mean girls from two rival high schools trying to come together and like join forces. Like, no. Regina and Katie this won't end well. It's not going to end well. This relationship is not going to end well. And honestly, it makes a lot of sense to me why they would join forces in this way. Totally. Again, Trump is a money man. Elon is a money man. I get them feeling like, oh, this is it. It is literally like watching Kim and Kanye get married and then watching 5 years later it implode. I want y'all to know. I stand 10 toes down on that. We can circle back on this and it will age so well. I am so confident in it. I promise you.
It happened quickly because this dude was supposed to have an office that was near the Oval Office, right? And then one of Trump's, I think a cabinet member, but maybe it's an aide. I can't remember who it was, but they told Elon outright. They were like, "Hey,
that ain't happening.
You're not gonna be around here." And in fact, you're not gonna talk to the president. You're gonna talk to me. Which is wild. Now, don't get me wrong. That person is also like a huge MAGA Trump Republican. But still, the fact that they felt the need to wedge themselves between Trump and Elon already speaks volumes. You know, because Elon, was standing behind the presidential seal. And this is how you know that a lot of people are truly out of their minds.
And since y'all like to talk about everybody's personal lives, y'all being the ones who, flame up my comments about politicians and their personal lives. This man has 13 children and 5 baby mamas. They are baby mamas. Baby mamas. His father, since y'all like to talk about sons of people in office, we can talk about family. His father married and has a child with his stepdaughter that he raised since the age of 4. Because y'all like to talk about people's personal lives and not just keep it to the office. Y'all like to talk about people's children and what they got going on and their legal issues. And I just want to bring this forth to you and say, if Obama had 13 children and 5 baby mamas, if Joe Biden's great cousin, uncle, daddy, best friend married his stepdaughter, y'all be up in arms. It just doesn't feel like it's all equally distributed, the outrage that is. Like, let's be outraged all across the board, because that's some crazy stuff. Y'all don't want women in office because women can't control themselves. This man can't control where he's putting his, or maybe he is controlling it and this is all intentional. I don't know. I just have so many questions about how anyone sees the greatness in all this. This will implode. It's going to implode. This being the two of them, what feels like sharing political power at this point. I don't know. Most of this is in jest and in light because, again, I am not ever going to tell you I'm completely read up and well informed, but I'm making comedic fun of this, a la my friend here, Josh Johnson. So cool your britches. Don't come at me, bro.
Oh, and this is how you know that a lot of people are truly out of their minds. This dude did a Nazi salute that we then debated if it was a Nazi salute for like every day after, including the day of. And I don't know if you should be allowed to talk if you can't believe your eyes. Do you know what I mean? Like, there are people that are like, that was not a Nazi salute. He was throwing his heart out to the crowd. I'm like, well, he has a weird pitch. You know what I mean? I always throw my heart like this. And he did it twice to make sure you knew what it was. which is pretty wild. One thing that I like about Elon, which is not many things, is that he always manages to quickly make the people that take up for him look super stupid. Like, really dumb. Because so many people had so many different things. They came to his defense. It was several things at once. It was like, guys, no, that was not a Nazi salute, okay? It was a Roman salute.
Oh my God.
I'm like, all right, you ever split a hair before? Apparently you don't know what that looks like. No, it wasn't a Roman salute. He has Asperger's. I know a lot of people with Asperger's. I know a lot of people that are on the spectrum. I know a lot of people with, you know, different types of autism on different parts of the spectrum. And when I've hung out with them, and they've needed to point, or they want to show me affection, you know what they never did? Anything that looked like that. It's pretty crazy. It's like 100% fundamentally insane that people within, I don't know. Maybe there's some law I don't know about where if you are a news publication and you say someone did not salute and they...
I'm not even getting into that. What I will say is it is scary to me. It is sad. It is crazy to me how much this word has resurfaced and come up in the last year. It's like, I thought we were all on the same page that this is horrific. And like calling someone that or bringing it up or like, you know what I mean? But it just keeps rearing its head in the most political of places. And it's like, whoa, this is alarming. This is alarming. It's alarming. It's alarming that this word is even like being written on the front page news in 2025 in a way that like isn't like, let's take a look back at, let's remember, you know, let's, it's like, no, we're talking about this as in present day. Huh? No one is alarmed by this? Just me and Josh and the people in the audience? Are we checking in? This is a welfare check. Are y'all okay? Are we doing all right?
They didn't actually do a not salute that they'll like sue you into oblivion and you just won't exist anymore. But I feel like when you see it, you can say it. And the fact that so many notable publications were like, he did a thing that appeared to be, none of us have ever got the leeway that Eli got that day. If there was a video of me stealing out of a store, the headline would not read, Josh Johnson is holding something that appears to not be his in the form of a Best Buy electronic. You see how that works?
Twice.
You see how when you see something, you can say exactly what it is and the world won't shatter? I do think genuinely that if people call out what they saw, they might feel the need to do something about it. So rather than do any of that, let's sidestep it and just be like, look, maybe it would, but I don't know. Who knows? These do. Like, in what world do you not know? You saw it. And you know how you know you saw it? Because Nazis saw it. And you know who was excited about it? Was Nazis. They were very excited. And if they think...
I think it's the same thing. So when I first started my channel, the picture is still up, the picture I'm about to reference. On my Instagram, the day I hit 30,000 subscribers, I posted a photo of me holding up the number 3. Unbeknownst to me, I guess in the way and the angle that I was holding up the number 3, a lot of people were like, be careful, that is also the symbol of white supremacists, which was so innocent. I had no idea. And obviously it was clear to me, and I think others, that I was celebrating 30,000 and hence the number 3. But if that post would have excited a certain group of people and they started to comment on it, that would have worried me. Everyone was just warning me. No one was like, well, you know, none of that happened. But I think I can use that as an example, whereas, you know, whether it was an intentional gesture or not on Elon Musk's part, the fact that a group of people who saw it and like a bat signal, they were like, "Caw, hooty hoo," that is worrisome. And that means that, I think again, my intention was not bad. And I think that's why people were warning me in the comments. No one was warning him. No one was like, let's educate him. Everyone was like, not everyone, but people were reacting to the call or taken aback by it, because I don't think anyone holds Elon Musk to this high moral clause. I think we all understand that, like, this man is who he is. You either accept it, you don't. You like it, you don't. But I don't think there's too many people on this planet that are like, he's such a good, morally sound person. I don't know. Maybe. Do you? I don't know him, so I can't say either or. But I just don't, in my world, know anyone who's like, oh, Elon Musk is just such a great person. He's his character. He would never. I think everyone thinks it's possible. And that should speak volumes.
I think they saw it. Then what are you doing now? If they're very sure of what it was, what do you look like being so unsure? No, it was a Roman salute.
Answers?
No, he has Asperger's. No, he's just awkward and he gets excited. I'm awkward. I got a lot of problems. And you know what I've never done? But truly, that's like that's a thing that I watch happen. And then so many people are like, guys, he's anything but a Nazi. He's not a Nazi. He loves Jewish people. And then we pointed to tweets where people showed whole sick conspiracy theories against Jewish people and anti-Semitic rhetoric. And then he would comment under it, that's true. But somehow he's not a Nazi. And
that's
then,
true.
For everyone who was still like on the fence or still hardcore, pro Elon, he's not a Nazi, y'all. He went ahead and did y'all a huge favor. He attended an AFD rally via satellite in Germany and told them, hey, you gotta let go of the past, y'all. We can't keep feeling bad about stuff that happens. The AFD, by the way, which is the most Naziest of the Nazi, he's like, no, you gotta be proud of your Germanness. These are all dog whistles, but you can hear it. I hear you, dog. And then Trump signed this executive order that
Dang, I forgot that's what we were
rolled back
talking about.
protections and acknowledgement of trans people, all right? And I didn't do it.
It wasn't me.
And the thing is, if there's anything...
Okay, I'm just saying, repeating what Josh said. He said he signed an executive order that rolled back protections and acknowledgement of trans people. As far as I knew, I only saw that he did the executive order removing trans people, like trans women who are biologically or born men who transition into women, removing them from sports. I didn't know this part. I'm going to listen a little bit more and then perhaps we'll talk about it. But that was the only thing I heard, and I agree with that executive order. I don't think anyone who has the anatomical makeup of a man should be in men's and women's sports. Unless it's like a co-ed situation. But we've already had this conversation. But taking anyone's rights or protections away from them just because you don't agree with them, I think is awful. Everyone should be protected. Every citizen should feel like they are protected and have rights. But I want to listen more because I'm sure Josh is going to give me some more context.
Thing that I wish Trump would ban, that had anything to do with gender, it would be gender reveals. They're getting genuinely dangerous. I watched a gender reveal where they had, because then they're creative.
I guess we're not going to talk about it.
Because then I watched this gender reveal where they had a blue plane and a pink plane, right? And both planes were flying at the couple, right? And then I guess whichever plane, I don't really know how it's supposed to work because both planes flying, so I don't know how we're gonna figure out what the baby is. You know what I mean? So then the pink plane veered off to the right and the blue plane kept straight. So I guess that meant it was a boy because they started celebrating, right? But they started celebrating without moving, and the plane was still coming at them. And so it's not a big plane, but it's a little bigger than a toy plane, and it hit the husband in the face and chopped his head all up. Like he's alive, he's fine, but you could tell it hit him hard, and he trying to still celebrate, but he's clearly concussed. He's 100% concussed, just oh.
Is this true? I need to see this video. I agree. The gender reveals, y'all. Oh.
Didn't
Put
even
that money in the college fund.
Anything. I don't know who is like winning with this thing. You know, maybe if you're a tech billionaire, you're doing very well because he's gonna push through to like lower regulations so that you can make things as fast as possible, even if those things need some guardrails because they might be potentially dangerous, whatever, you know. And if you really hate other people, then yes, you're having a good week.
Yikes.
But for Americans, like specifically for us, I don't know what these things do. You know? Like I don't know what rolling back what few protections there were for trans people does for me. I thought the election was about safety and eggs. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I thought it was like everyone was talking about eggs a lot. Like everybody was like really hitting those eggs. I didn't know eggs were everybody's favorite.
I did just buy $10 eggs yesterday and
it was like everyone was talking about eggs a lot. Like everybody was like really hitting those eggs. I didn't know eggs were everybody's favorite food. Like eggs. People weren't even talking about bread. They were talking specifically about eggs. I think a lot of people went to like Kroger or Walmart or something on the wrong day and they were like, hell no, eggs is my #1 issue. I'm a one-issue voter and eggs is that vote. And so I don't know what any of this has to do with eggs, but it doesn't seem like we're getting there. You know? Even the language of the executive order was weird. The language of the executive order was like, you have to treat and address people as the sex that they were assigned at conception, which is not how, that's not how anything works. If it's conception, dude, if it's conception, when it happens, then there's no men. There would be no dudes.
I don't like the ladies cheering in the audience. Like, what are you talking about? We need men. Go watch my shoe on head video if you care about that. Like, that's crazy to be hollering and hooping like, there's no men, yay. No, but yeah, using the word conception is crazy. Like, that's not how it works.
This is not a plan. Like, this is terrifying. Don't be wrong. There are plenty of people who are scared, and there are plenty of people who don't know what to do next. And one thing I really want people to stop doing, and I'm not anybody's boss. You can do what you want. You can probably, you know, whatever, screw me. But we're not like cooked. Don't do that thing. Don't give up immediately. Like there's a sort of rhetoric and an idea that like, oh, we're finished.
Yeah, we're done. America's
like,
over.
There's nothing that can be done. It's like guys, no. But then you see people devastated, giving up very quickly. Mm-hmm. You know, oh man, we're ruined. We're so cooked. It's like, I mean, if you believe that, then we are. Like, if you earnestly believe that, then yes, absolutely. That's what cooked looks like, because cooked is done, and you like your steak raw. So, yeah, I mean. Like day one, we're cooked. That's also, that kind of made me furious, I'm not gonna lie. Not even like an armed resistance attacking people or something like that. Oh, we're cooked. It's like, you saw him with his pen.
Like, I'm saying genuinely, people, please, if you feel anything, then you should openly speak it. You know, one of the reasons that these things spread, why negativity spreads, why like the general pessimism towards movements spread, is because people let their doubt reign over everything, all of their discussion, all of their thinking. It's like, I'm not saying that I know exactly what to do about executive orders that he passed that I don't agree with. Those things are for the courts to hopefully fight. You know?
Right. That's what I was hoping he would at least say, is like, I agree. I don't think for people who are concerned or upset or feel like, oh, the world is, you know, yeah, all those things. It's like, I think those people should really educate themselves on how our government works. Do you know what I mean? Like, there is a pecking order and things are to be voted on. And that's why there is a Senate and a Congress, and, you know, and then you have officials on the state level. And so all hope is not lost if you feel like if you feel like this, right? Like, it just is a matter of learning how to pivot. I think it's such a life lesson, right? Like, okay, something happened that you didn't want to happen, you don't agree with. Okay, how do I now pivot and maybe affect change in areas that I want to affect change in? Or how do I rally around the people who I feel like need the support? You know, but to just give up and be like, oh, I'm just gonna for the next 4 years. It's like, we all matter. And I mean, it's why we have voting. Voting matters. I don't know what else to say here. All right. We got 8 minutes, Josh. Wrap it up.
But I will say, for every person that I know that was affected by an executive order that he has, that I know is scared, I talk to that person. And I tell them, hey, I'm at least here. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not the president, but I'm here for you, locally, right?
Locally.
That's how you build community. And that's how you keep people from being afraid. Because people don't know. They genuinely don't know that there are people that are willing to back them up. They have no idea, right? He signed an executive order that was supposed to take away birthright citizenship for people who were not already citizens, and to stop any confusion, it was going to be birthright citizenship starting now, right? Because if it was for all time, then like half
we'd
of
all
this
be out
happened.
of here.
They wouldn't even know where to
And
take
his
them,
wife.
put them. And then he started work on this thing that he'd been promising. And it was a thing that people didn't really think he was going to do, of like mass deportations. And so far, these are the numbers so far as I know them. Once again, I'm willing to be like fact checked. If I'm wrong. But this is from what I've read and from what I know, this is basically what has happened. They did some ICE raids in places like Chicago, and there were some in Texas too, Arizona, and like plenty of like sanctuary cities. That's ones they were like targeting initially. I'm not sure why, because you would think in the red states that vote for this thing, they would want it first. Like, that just seems like it's making nobody happy.
Right.
And they rounded up some people, and they went ahead and took off for Mexico. And so then they take off for Mexico. We did it. We raided. We got some people. Gonna drop them off at Mexico because these are Mexican illegal immigrants, right? And so then FAA comes on, and they're like, "Hey, don't land here." And I do think that nobody really thought that part through. I don't think people really thought. And then even when they let them land, they were like, "Don't let them off the plane. Just turn around." And they were like, "All right, okay. We will be back, though. We'll be back with more," right? Because I should be clear here that apparently, from what I've read, just deporting these 80 people cost the taxpayers $700,000.
Wow.
So I do not know how we're gonna save any money. I don't know how this plan is gonna work.
Because that's what this is about, right? We're deporting because it'll save money. It'll save Americans their money, their dollars, their jobs, and all these things. Am I correct? If not, again, like Josh, feel free to correct me. Also, to be clear, it is not just Mexicans being detained. It's any illegal immigrant that is being affected. I have distant people who, that I know on different degrees, or people that I know that have family members of Haitian descent, of Nigerian descent, who are in this country and have been deported. So I just want to be clear on that. I think the Mexican border has always been the highlighted immigration issue, but they ain't playing with anybody. Nobody is safe. So I just wanted to say, at least to my understanding.
80. There's supposedly 11 million undocumented immigrants in the U.S., right? 11 million, so 3.3% of the population, right? And we started with 80. If I owed somebody $11 million...
We started with 80, and those people were returned back to just go sit in ISIS camps, detention centers, whatever they're called. Meaning that money is still coming out of our... Okay. Is that what I'm to understand? That's a question. It's a question. I'm asking a question. Is that how I am to understand it?
I told him, hey, I ain't got all that right now, but I do have this 80. I'm getting my ass beat. That's crazy. 80?
That is a great way of putting it.
I'm not in government. I'm not acting like I know how to fix a situation. I'm not acting like I know what to do about where we're at. But I will say this. If I know I gotta spend $700,000 to get 80, this is just me. I'm not telling anybody else to do this. This is just me. This is what I would do if it were me and I knew $700,000 for 80. I would just tell those 80 people, listen, I'm gonna break you off some. Start a new life somewhere else.
Just go.
You get 1/80th of 700,000, right? And come back in like 6 months, all right? Because that's one thing that you will not hear. As this whole thing builds out, you will not hear about people coming over illegally. They're gonna act like it's not happening. They're gonna act like it's all going one way. They're denying everything. They're denying all of these legal ways to become a citizen, legal ways to gain citizenship, legal ways to get a card, or just to be able to work in the U.S. They canceled a lot of appointments for people who were doing the right thing, right? And so my thing is just use your logic and pay attention to what is not being said over the next few months to several years.
Can someone tell me down below why they would cancel appointments for people who are doing the right thing if we have a system in place for people to become legal citizens? I know a few people, a few of my friends, their parents went through the whole process. They took the test and they became citizens. They had the ceremony. They got their certificate, yada, yada, yada. Why would they shut that down? Are we just not wanting anyone to come here and not giving anyone the opportunity to do things the right way? Are we just assuming everyone is awful and wants to come into our country and do bad things? Or what is the reason? I genuinely want to know, because so many of you have all of the answers. Thank you.
Because they're not going to want to admit that these people are coming in still, even while they're making these efforts, because it will make them look even more desperate. Even less efficient. Ooh. You know? Because they told us before the election all of these incredible stories about how migrants were coming in. They were like, and look, I don't even know how they're doing it, but in Honduras and Guatemala, they're disassembling themselves, mailing themselves here, and then reassembling themselves, and then walking around amongst us. But now that they've supposedly shut down the border, they want us to believe that all of these legal ways of entering have also just stopped. And that's not true. You're fighting a losing battle if it takes you $700,000 to send 80 people somewhere that says, hey, we're not, you know what I mean? That's one of the craziest things.
And we lost that 700,000 if they got sent back, right?
It's a deeply, deeply ironic thing that they did all this and sent the people over. And then the other countries were like, hey, those are American immigrants.
You heard the
No,
American.
that's crazy.
They belong to y'all.
No. And I think a lot of it. I think a lot of the like tactics that have been taken and some of the logic that's been used on the news and everything is just is genuinely like fear based. It's to like rile you up. It's to make you feel afraid and everything.
I agree with that.
You know, even in the executive orders, like 100 executive orders or so, and so many of them don't really say anything. They don't really do anything. You just sort of make a show of signing it, you know? Because I'll be honest with you, I saw some of the raids that were taking place and some of the statements that people made and how they're taking things that were normally off the table, they're putting them back on so they can come in your church, they can come in your school. People are scared to go to places that felt safe and everything. And I will say I don't know exactly what to do. I'm not acting like I have any answers. I just don't know how possibly this is the road, like this is the tack to take, you know? Like people will say things like, oh, they don't pay any taxes. It's like, don't they eat?
Taxes come out of that.
The sales tax? Didn't they pay? And by the way,
a lot of our 1%ers don't pay taxes either. Oop, there it is. A lot of our government officials don't pay taxes. Oop. A lot of our celebrities don't pay taxes. Oop.
hey, this not paying taxes
I
thing,
just love to play the devil's advocate here.
They get paid under the table by Americans, by the way. There's no job that they have that an American doesn't give them.
Right.
And pay them under the table in cash and probably pay them a little less than minimum wage. Probably pay them in even numbers. So what? What money?
Josh,
What
please.
money could you possibly stand to gain? And I'm not saying the money doesn't exist, that it's not there, and that there shouldn't be a path to legal citizenship so that they can pay all the taxes that we all pay. I'm just saying that, like, are they each owing more than like $700,000 when you put 80 of them together?
Make the math.
I don't know.
I love this man. I do. I think he's just... He's the perfect storm. All right. It's been an hour and 7 minutes. Talk to me in the comments. Only Josh and Shu can get me to do this. I want y'all to know. I don't do movie reactions, but I will react to Josh and Shu. And I will react for an hour. It's as good as it's going to get. I love you guys. Be kind in the comments. I don't care what your opinion is. You're entitled to it. But if you can't be kind, you will get biggity blocked. Love you. Have the day you deserve. Bye.